January 24th, 2024. Daily Bread. Passage: Judges chapter 6, verse 25 to verse 40. Key verse 25b and 26a. Title: Tear down the altars and worship God. That same night the Lord said to him, "Take the second bull from your father's herd, the one 7 years old. Tear down your father's altar to Baal, and cut down the Asherah pole beside it. Then build a proper kind of altar to the Lord your God, on the top of this height, using the wood of the Asherah pole that you cut down. Offer the second bull as a burnt offering." So Gideon took 10 of his servants, and did as the Lord told him. But because he was afraid of his family and the townspeople, he did it at night, rather than in the daytime. In the morning, when the people of the town got up, there was Baal's altar, demolished, with the Asherah pole beside it, cut down, and the second bull sacrificed on the newly built altar. They asked each other, "Who did this?" When they carefully investigated, they were told, "Gideon, son of Joash, did it." The people of the town demanded of Joash, "Bring out your son. He must die, because he has broken down Baal's altar and cut down the Asherah pole beside it." But Joash replied to the hostile crowd around him, "Are you going to plead Baal's cause? Are you trying to save him? Whoever fights for him shall be put to death by morning. If Baal really is a god, he can defend himself when someone breaks down his altar." So because Gideon broke down Baal's altar, they gave him the name Jerub-Baal that day, saying, "Let Baal contend with him." Now all the Midianites, Amalekites, and other eastern peoples joined forces and crossed over the Jordan and camped in the valley of Jezreel. Then the Spirit of the Lord came on Gideon, and he blew a trumpet, summoning the Abuzarites to follow him. He sent messengers throughout Manasseh, calling them to arms, and also into Asher, Zebulun, and Naphtali. So they too went up to meet them. Gideon said to God, "If you will save Israel by my hand, as you have promised, look, I will place a wool fleece on the threshing floor. If there is dew only on the fleece and all the ground is dry, then I will know that you will save Israel by my hand, as you said." And this is what happened. Gideon rose early the next day. He squeezed the fleece and wrung out the dew, a bowlful of water. Then Gideon said to God, "Do not be angry with me. Let me make just one more request. Allow me one more test with the fleece, but this time make the fleece dry, and let the ground be covered with dew." That night God did so. Only the fleece was dry. All the ground was covered with dew. Daily Bread message. The Lord told Gideon to tear down the altar to Baal and the Asherah pole, and on that site build a proper altar to the Lord, sacrificing a bull on the altar. Before Gideon could truly serve the Lord, he had to remove everything that kept him from serving the Lord. He did so, but at night, because he knew he would invoke the fury of his neighbors. The next day they wanted to kill Gideon, but his father pushed back, saying, "Let Baal defend himself, if he really is a god." They named him Jerub-Baal. Let Baal contend with him. To serve the Lord, we must remove all the altars in our own hearts and serve him only. The Spirit of the Lord came upon Gideon, and he summoned an army to him. But he still wanted to make sure, so he asked the Lord for 2 signs, involving a fleece and the morning dew. Gideon had the Lord's promise. That should have been enough. The Lord will always come through on his word. Prayer. Father, help me to tear down the idols in my heart and worship and serve only you. One word: tear down your altars and worship God.